Valorant, the game that is taking the gaming world by storm. Does it have all it needs to succeed and be the next big thing like Overwatch, CSGO, or even Fortnite? In my personal opinion, I think it can't reach that level. However, given that it's only a closed beta, we only have so much to go off of. But, here are a couple of my points and opinions on what Valorant needs to succeed in today's ever-changing gaming universe. For those of you who may not know much about Valorant, Valorant is made by Riot Games. You know, the big company behind League of Legends and many other amazing titles. Currently the game is in closed beta, and is set to release sometime this summer 2020. There is still no set date, as it is currently in closed beta and they are working out many different kinks in the game before they feel comfortable releasing it to the general public. While I have been fortunate enough to be able to play the game thanks to the Twitch drops that they did and are still currently doing until the game officially releases this summer, I have sunk many hours into this game. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what this game needs and what this game already has to offer. Let's start off with some positives. Is the gunplay good? I think so. I think that it's very similar to that in CSGO, where we have the one-shot headshots and you have a spray pattern. It's not quite like the bloom of Fortnite, where you're just kind of guessing where your next shots are going to go if you're continuously holding down the trigger. On top of that, I think the characters are really interesting. It's a cool twist that makes it that similar to Overwatch, while also keeping that gunplay still intact. I do think there is some issues with the characters, which we are going to address in this video, but I think from a gunplay standpoint, it's an excellent game. A lot of people do have issues with the gunplay, and I can go into that a little bit too, but I think from just a casual gamer standpoint, it's a pretty good gunplay style of game. To build off that positive point, we also have that the menus are super easy now. When the game first was coming out in closed beta, it was super not, but they've cleaned it up a lot, and I think it's really improved the look and feel of the game. But as far as positives go, that's really all that I have. You know, there's a lot of negatives in this game, but I've like I said, I've played a lot of this game, and I want to see it succeed because I do think it has that potential, and it can be a super fun, amazing experience. But I think a lot of work has to go into it until it officially launches, and even then, you still have a lot of work. I'm going to start with the biggest issue, and that's what a lot of people have talked about, like the big names on the streaming Twitch community, and that's going to be Sub at 1G. Shroud's even kind of talked about it a little bit, and that's going to be the map design. I think the idea behind the 3 maps that they have in rotation right now is they're just tester maps. I feel like they will be in the game when the game launches, but I'm hoping that there's going to be better ones, because honestly, you take a look at these maps, and I'll show them on screen here. They're super simple. They're super linear. They have very minimal elevation difference, and if they do have elevation difference, it's super lackluster. You know, you think of like a Dust 2 where it has the staircase, and then it has mid, which, you know, goes down on a ramp. You have the arch. You know, there's a lot more depth and feel to those maps than there is in Valorant. Valorant is more of like a hallway to the bomb site with some disruptions in between, and that's pretty much the whole map. It's a super bland and super not, you know, high quality from what you would expect from a company like Riot Games. Again, it's a big issue for a lot of people. For me, it's not that big of an issue because I understand this is like the testing phase of the game, and I'm hoping that we get different and better maps as the game progresses. But if we don't, I think that's where this game is going to shortfall, and it's going to nosedive quick, because there is a lot of issues with these maps. The main one being you only have limited sightlines and limited visibility and limited places to even just hide, or in some cases there's even too many. There's too many to cover for just, you know, the amount of people that are playing the game. There's too many places for people to be hiding, and they've taken steps to limit that on Split. They've limited the amount of corners in some places, and I want them to continue to move forward in these minimizations of issues in the maps and improvements to the maps. I think that something like Split, where you have mid, which kind of levels down, as well as has the rope sections, I think that is much more three-dimensional than just like Haven, which is 3 points and it's pretty much just linear. You just go down one hallway, you go down another hallway, or you go down mid, and there's really not much depth to that. I think that speaks volumes. And if we have more maps like Haven, this game is going to suffer. But really, like I've mentioned, it really comes down to how they continue to develop and move forward with these maps once the game releases. I think that will be the telling point of how well Riot wants this game to succeed. The next big thing for me is it's not really rumors anymore. It's pretty much confirmed from Riot that there's going to be a battle pass type system in the game, which is how you're going to earn, such as the credits to change the looks of your guns, or credits to, I'm assuming, to unlock, eventually unlock more operators and, get skins and stuff like that. And the battle pass is a tough one for me, because I came from the Fortnite community when I first started to really get into gaming, and the battle pass for Fortnite has revolutionized the gaming industry in a good way, but I think a lot of companies look at it and they're going to take it and they're going to ruin it, which I'm hoping they don't. If they can stay true to how the battle pass system works, and they keep it at a fair price, they give you good value from that price, I think that Riot will succeed from this. Now, like I said, this isn't in the closed beta. This is post-launch. They're going to be adding a battle pass, so I don't think that we can really make our judgments yet, but I think that if they do this right, it will help the game succeed. It'll give you replayability, replay value, give you something for your time and money. But if they don't do that, or maybe they stray away from the battle pass and do their own system, I think that's where the game is going to fail. But we shall see what happens with that. To build off the idea of a battle pass, we go to their microtransactions, which in the closed beta is currently just the skins for the weapons. You have 3 base sets and some extras mixed in there. The big issue when this game first launched and closed beta was how expensive the skins and skin packs were. While a lot of the people that were complaining about it probably don't have a job, they're probably younger, they come from the Fortnite community where skins are relatively cheap. They can be expensive, but they are relatively cheap. I see why Riot skins are more expensive, because it's a free-to-play game, so they have to make money somehow. You have to understand that. Do I think that it's a little bit unreasonable? Yeah, but I mean, I personally have spent money on the game because, one, I played the game a lot, and I still do, and I want to see what happens with it. I also had some expendable income while in quarantine from my birthday and stuff like that. So, but for the average Joe, I think that they're a little pricey, but I don't think that's what they're targeting the skins for. The skins are definitely for the hardcore players, and I think that they have said that there will be cheaper options available, and obviously through the battle pass, I'm hoping they'll give you some skins for completing through the battle pass too. But really, I don't think this is going to cause the game to fail by any means. I think that this is going to it's not really going to affect it. I think it could ruin it. A lot of people are calling and asking for them to make a community marketplace like CSGO. I don't think that's a good idea. That's not the way that Riot really works, and it's not, it would require a lot more, and you would go into the whole skin gambling thing that CSGO went through like a couple of years ago now. I think the skins are going to strictly stay cosmetic and strictly stay to just who bought them. You're not going to be able to trade them or anything. Hopefully gifting, but that's going to probably be the extent of what they do there, unfortunately. The next big subject for me is really going to be the characters, or the agents that they call them in this game. I think that these ones that they have now, and the balance changes that they've made since the game first came out and closed the beta, have definitely improved it. However, I think that the agents is where you're really going to lose a lot of people and possibly even kill the game. The agents they currently have, the set, I think they've done a very good job balancing them through the community feedback. Obviously, when the game first came out, you had Raze, who was super overpowered. They've made some changes to her, which have kind of balanced her back a little bit. Funny enough, people at Riot actually thought that Raze was going to be underplayed in competitive play, but you have to understand that that's just competitive play. From a competitive standpoint, she is not that good. From the I just downloaded this game and want to learn how to play the game standpoint, she is overpowered as shit. But that being said, they have scaled her back, and she is, I think, personally a lot better. However, I think with the new addition of agents in the future, through whether that be battle pass contracts, as long as it's not paid, then we'll be fine. And I don't think they're going to go down that route. I think new agents will be free to anyone. You probably just have to do a contract to earn them, which they currently are doing now. But it really comes down to how they choose to balance that, because I think adding a new agent is going to mess up the entire pool. But I think what they'll end up doing is balancing all the heroes or agents when they add a new one to kind of make the pool not as different, you know. And I think really too, the current state of the heroes is going to change once they start adding new maps, because I think that's what really limits or makes other agents super overpowered. On certain maps, Cypher is overpowered as crap because he can look at multiple different angles, he can trap things, and there's only one way to get to that spot. On other maps, he's absolutely useless. And I think that really comes down to, again, the poor map design, or the simple map design that they went through with this current state of the game. Now, I am going to give them the benefit of doubt, and we're going to assume that this is just for test reasons, that they only have these simple maps, and we'll see, especially with the community feedback, we'll see different styles and more three-dimensional maps. But like I said, this is what's going to kill or make or break the game. Now, after everything that we've discussed so far, I think the biggest point and the biggest determining factor for if Valorant is going to succeed as a game is going to be its esports scene. As many of you may know, Riot Games has a massive scene overseas, and even in the US as far as League of Legends go. In fact, for many esports players, companies, organizations, League of Legends is not only one of the highest profile teams that an organization can have, it's also one of the more successful if the team is good. But Riot has some really interesting rules that I think are going to maybe hurt the game more than it is going to help the game. For example, look at a game like Fortnite, CSGO, Call of Duty before this last season. Anyone can host a tournament for any amount of money. Doesn't have to be for charity, it can be for straight profit. And the game gets publicity, you get the top players, yada yada yada. Games have grown significantly, like Fortnite and Call of Duty through esports. That's how I got involved in esports, actually, was through the Call of Duty scene before the whole Activision took over, which kind of ruined it for me. But the idea of esports being a free and open kind of thing is what I think helped Fortnite become the game that it is now. Same with Overwatch. Anyone can host a tournament for any amount of money. It didn't have to be for any specific reason. You just wanted to host a tournament. Winner gets a certain amount of money. And I'm talking huge cash pools too, not just little, $50. Like, I'm talking a couple thousands of dollars. With Riot, that's not quite the case. In fact, anything over $10,000, you can't give to the winners. That has to be for charity. You can't, budget $10,000 for the victor unless you want that to be just for charity. On top of that, not just anyone can host a tournament for money. It's more, again, for charity or just for fun. And I think that's what really helped Fortnite succeed in esports. While I don't like the esports of Fortnite, is that you had those tournaments for money that were provided by, Keemstar or many different organizations. I think that Riot, while being the esports giant it is, has a plan. I'm seeing a lot of, Overwatch players and many other professional gamers say that they're already going to be Valorant specific for esports, even though the game is still in closed beta and it hasn't even officially come out yet. I think that a lot of them are just putting all their eggs in one basket a little too quick. And I think that if this esports scene does not take off for Riot, I think that you're looking at this game dying very quickly, because that's what led to the success of many other leagues as well as games on top of everything else. So really, that's my opinions on Valorant. I love this game and I'm going to follow this game, but it does need a lot of work. And it's a good thing it's a closed beta, because that's what closed betas are for. I think that if this goes in the right direction, I'll continue to play it and continue to support it. But if it does start to take that turn that I've talked about in this video, I don't think that it's going to be the game that everyone thinks it's going to be. I think it will crash hard and it will just become a super casual basic game that's not going to last very long. I think if anything it'll end up like Siege, where when it first came out everyone was hyped about it, everyone was playing it, and then it died off for a little bit, and then they changed a bunch of stuff and it made a resurgence. Same with Apex Legends. I think that if anything that's how the game is going to end up. But, I mean, they can prove me wrong, and I would love for them to prove me wrong, because I do think that this game has potential to be the next big esport, as well as the next big game for at least the PC community. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later.